Chapter 14: The Highway of Lost Souls. Emily was a journalist investigating a series of mysterious disappearances on a remote highway known as the Highway of Lost Souls. The highway had a dark reputation, with numerous reports of people vanishing without a trace. Determined to uncover the truth, Emily embarked on a solo journey down the highway. As she drove, she felt an eerie sense of being watched. The road was deserted, and the landscape seemed to change with each passing mile. Suddenly, she saw a figure standing by the side of the road. She pulled over and approached the figure, who turned out to be a young boy, lost and frightened. He told her that he had been separated from his family and couldn't find his way back. Emily offered to help, but as she drove further, the boy vanished from the back seat. Panicked, she realized that she had encountered one of the lost souls that haunted the highway. Determined to find answers, Emily continued her investigation. She discovered that the highway was built on ancient burial grounds, and the spirits of the restless dead roamed the area, trapping unsuspecting travelers. As night fell, Emily saw more apparitions, each one a lost soul seeking help. She felt a growing sense of despair, realizing that she might become one of them if she couldn't escape. In a desperate bid for freedom, Emily recited a prayer she had learned from a local shaman. The spirits began to fade, and the oppressive atmosphere lifted. She drove away, the highway finally behind her. Emily's article on the Highway of Lost Souls brought attention to the tragic history of the area. A memorial was established to honor the lost souls, and the highway was closed to prevent further disappearances. Chapter 15: The Poltergeist Intersection. Tom was a seasoned truck driver who had heard countless stories of haunted roads and ghostly encounters. One night, he found himself at a notorious intersection known for its high number of accidents. The locals called it the Poltergeist Intersection. As he approached the intersection, Tom felt a sudden chill in the air. His truck's lights flickered, and the radio crackled with static. He saw a figure standing in the middle of the road, waving frantically. Tom slammed on the brakes and got out to help, but the figure vanished. Suddenly, his truck's horn blared on its own, and the engine revved uncontrollably. Objects inside the cab flew around as if thrown by an unseen force. Terrified, Tom tried to regain control, but the poltergeist seemed to have taken over his truck. He managed to steer it to the side of the road and turned off the engine. The disturbances stopped, but the oppressive feeling remained. Determined to get to the bottom of the mystery, Tom spoke to the locals and learned about a tragic accident that had occurred at the intersection years ago. A young couple had died in a fiery crash, and their spirits were believed to haunt the area. Tom decided to perform a ritual to appease the restless spirits. He placed flowers at the site of the accident and recited a prayer for the deceased. As he did so, he felt a sense of calm wash over him, and the disturbances ceased. The poltergeist intersection was no longer haunted, and the number of accidents decreased significantly. Tom's encounter became a cautionary tale for other drivers, a reminder of the importance of respecting the spirits of those who had tragically lost their lives on the road. Chapter 16: The Phantom Train. Rachel was a commuter who took the same train to work every day. One evening, she decided to take a different route home, boarding a late-night train that was rumored to be haunted. As the train sped through the dark countryside, Rachel noticed that the other passengers seemed distant and aloof. She tried to strike up a conversation, but they ignored her, their eyes fixed on the windows. Suddenly, the train entered a long, dark tunnel. The lights flickered, and the temperature dropped. Rachel heard whispers and faint cries, as if the walls themselves were haunted. When the train emerged from the tunnel, she saw ghostly figures standing along the tracks, their faces twisted in agony. Rachel's heart raced as she realized she was on the phantom train, a spectral vehicle that transported the souls of the departed. The train was said to appear only at night, ferrying its ghostly passengers to the afterlife. Desperate to escape, Rachel moved to the front of the train, hoping to find the conductor. She found an old, weathered man who confirmed her worst fears. He told her that the train was cursed, and once a living soul boarded, they could never leave. In a state of panic, Rachel pleaded for a way out. The conductor, moved by her desperation, revealed that there was one way to break the curse. She had to find a token from each ghostly passenger and offer it as a tribute to the spirits. Rachel spent the rest of the journey collecting trinkets and mementos from the ghostly passengers. As the train approached her destination, she presented the tokens to the conductor, who recited an incantation to free her from the curse. The train came to a halt, and Rachel stepped off, feeling the weight of the curse lift from her shoulders. She never took the phantom train again, and her story became a legend among commuters, a haunting reminder of the thin line between the living and the dead. Chapter 17: The Demon Driver. Max was a rideshare driver who enjoyed the flexibility and freedom of his job. One night, he received a request from a passenger who insisted on being picked up from a remote location outside the city. As Max drove to the location, he felt an increasing sense of dread. The road was deserted, and the surrounding landscape seemed to grow darker and more menacing. When he arrived, he saw a man standing by the side of the road, his eyes glowing with an unnatural light. The passenger got into the back seat, and Max felt an icy chill fill the car. The man spoke in a low, raspy voice, giving an address that didn't appear on Max's GPS. As they drove, the atmosphere grew more oppressive, and Max felt as if he was being watched by unseen eyes. Suddenly, the passenger began to chant in an unknown language. Max's car swerved uncontrollably, and the radio emitted a piercing shriek. The man's eyes glowed brighter, and Max realized he was dealing with a demon. Desperate to escape, Max recited a prayer he had learned as a child. The demon passenger let out a furious scream and vanished, leaving Max alone in the car. The oppressive atmosphere lifted, and the car returned to normal. Shaken, Max drove back to the city, vowing never to take a ride request from that area again. His encounter with the demon driver became a chilling story among his fellow rideshare drivers, a reminder of the dark forces that lurked in the shadows.